welcome to this special edition of Explosive Exclusive. You're joining me and Madhavdas Gopalakrishnan on this big show. We're waiting for Rhea Chakraborty's interrogation to get over on day 2. She's expected to come out any minute now. And right after that, she's going to be leaving for home. We understand she has been summoned once again tomorrow. According to the information we have today, there are 3 major points on which Rhea Chakraborty has confessed her own role, which is procuring of drugs, which is also arranging drugs, and she's also been giving drugs to Sushant Singh Rajput. These 3 confessions have been made by Rhea Chakraborty in her interrogation today when she was confronted both with Souvik Chakraborty, Samuel Miranda, as well as Dipesh Sawant. We're also being given to understand at this point that it is Rhea Chakraborty who has filed an FIR once again maligning the family of Sushant Singh Rajput. She has filed an FIR against his sister Priyanka, stating that she and a doctor from Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital who gave a written prescription on the 8th of June was something that was against the law, and that is how things are stacked at the moment. 2 days of interrogation, and Rhea is likely to be leaving in just a bit from now. We are seeing movement on that gate, and that's the NCP office that we are seeing on the left of our screens, and Rhea Chakraborty's car waiting in anticipation, and she's likely to come out any minute now. So Madhav,
absolutely.
It's been 2 days of interrogations, no arrest yet. Clearly there are many more questions that she still needs to answer the Narcotics Control Bureau on?
Well, one can only, conjecture at this point of time, Navika, but the fact is that we have reported here on Times Now as well, the voluminous amounts of WhatsApp conversations, the credit card transactions, the other digital footprints that Rhea Chakraborty would have been confronted with individually yesterday. And today we understand, along with all of the others, including Souvik, including Samuel Miranda, including Dipesh, who was the house help, the joint, interrogation of all of these individuals with Rhea Chakraborty is what sources have told us has really, of course, taken place today. So Balad Estate, the location from where we're seeing these live pictures come in from South Mumbai, that's where in fact Rhea is expected to emerge any minute now, really, from inside that office. Of course, a massive police deployment, at least 5 police vans that had accompanied her yesterday, and of course a massive security arrangement and a cordon that has been thrown around her as well today to ensure that Rhea Chakraborty is able to come and go very easily. But Navika, I think we should take this across to our reporters who are also joining us.
That's right, our entire team of reporters reporting from Ground Zero. Siddhant Mishra, also there is Tamal, Mohit Sharma also present, and Mohit Bhatt. Let me go across to Tamal first. Tamal, what are we expecting in the next few minutes? Is Rhea expected to go? What time is she being summoned again tomorrow?
Well, Navika, that's what you're learning from our sources, that she has been summoned again tomorrow, and tomorrow morning at the same time, 10, she would be coming back the NCB building that she is expected to leave now. So in less than 24 hours, Rhea Chakraborty is expected to come back. The setup here is quite indicative, Navika. Yesterday too, around the same time, at around 6:20, Rhea Chakraborty had left. Now the pilot vehicle is already, the lady constables have gone inside. There are police people manning the main gate of the NCB building. So yes, on the ground, it's all telltale that Rhea Chakraborty would be leaving, but then she would only be leaving the NCB guest house, NCB office rather, after having spent more than 8 hours on day 2. First day, 6 hours. Day 2, 8 hours. Total 14 hours of intensive examination, which has lasted. Okay, I believe there is movement going on. Rhea Chakraborty is there. Rhea Chakraborty, there you see, she has come out, Navika, and she is getting into the car. She is getting into the car, and she turned back, spoke to the NCB officials. She formally got inside the vehicle, and now she would be leaving the NCB cordon, this safety cordon which has been created for her. And you see the police pilot vehicle is leaving, and police pilot vehicle are trying to ensure that they give her a safe passage out first pilot vehicle coming out. The second vehicle is of Rhea Chakraborty. The third is again a pilot vehicle. So all these vehicles would be giving absolute cover security to Rhea Chakraborty. Rhea Chakraborty's vehicle is coming out. She is onto the right side, and I would ask my camera person to come this side and show. There you see Rhea. Rhea, did you make any confessions? Rhea, did you make any confessions? Rhea, Rhea, did you make confessions? Rhea, why did you play the victim's card? Okay, Rhea Chakraborty's vehicle is out. Navika, there you see the pilot vehicle is out. Rhea Chakraborty's vehicle is out. The third civil dress police vehicle giving the security cover to Rhea Chakraborty has also tailed behind the same cavalcade. So it's a proper convoy, proper cavalcade of security given to Rhea Chakraborty after NCB had approached Mumbai police, ensuring that her security doesn't get compromised. It's 6 o'clock sharp, Navika, and Rhea Chakraborty is expected to come back to the NCB office tomorrow once again by 10 o'clock. That's what you're picking up from our sources. We are also expecting a very brief media briefing by NCB officials. That's what they have told us. And at this point in time, the NCB officials will be coming out and doing the press briefing. They have examined Rhea Chakraborty for good 8 hours, more than 8 hours, overall 14 hours in 2 days. Tomorrow, we have to see what holds in the fate of Rhea Chakraborty. But then you also know, as a matter of fact, Rhea Chakraborty has made several admissions which also range from procurement of drugs, procurement of marijuana, even though she has tried passing the buck a lot on deceased Sushant Singh Rajput, suggesting that she had been doing all this at the behest of Sushant Singh Rajput, and so that his demands can be obliged with. But then for NCB, it just
Let's
not.
also get a quick word from our other reporters who've been, in fact, covering the story from that very location. We have with us Mohit Sharma as well as Siddhant. Siddhant, let me come to you first. Siddhant, the fact is also that there is a huge amount of information, a huge amount of evidence that the agencies are looking at. When we saw Shavik being questioned by the same NCB at the very same location, the very day that he was questioned, we saw later in the evening that he was shown arrested. In the case of Rhea, what are your sources in the NCB telling you that they are looking at this point of time? Is it a more detailed investigation? Is there the fact that there is so much more evidence that is really taking the NCB such a long time?
That was a question I asked to officers also in agency, Madhav. Now, they have been telling me this, that with Shavik, there was a direct link with peddlers. So this was a reason that those facts, when came into the interrogation, he was arrested on that particular day only. But with Rhea used to coordinate, Madhav. Rhea used to procure drugs through Shavik. So Rhea's link, as far as this particular cartel is concerned, has not directly been established yet. But Rhea has confessed this, that she was into procuring drugs for Sushant Singh Rajput. She has also said that she used to do it through Samuel Miranda and Shavik Chakraborty. She also has to say that she was not directly involved in it. So this is what we have been playing for our viewers, that she has been evasive. She is completely denying that she was actively involved. She is pushing everything on her brother Shavik and Samuel Miranda and Dipesh Sawant, that these people used to get drugs for the house. Now Anuj Keshwani has been arrested. He is the main guy, Madhav. So far he is the main guy. Now we don't know who is his boss, but he is the main guy, and we have been told that he used to give drugs to Zaid used to give drugs to Samuel Miranda gave it to Shavik, and Shavik used to give it to Rhea. So this is a chain. This is how chain used to work. Now the fact here is that agencies are still looking for that incriminating evidence, that incriminating testimony, and tomorrow in all likelihood Rhea is going to get confronted with Anuj Keshwani first. Second, as we have been mentioning it from morning, that more than 18 to 20 people list have been prepared by the agency, Madhav. These people have given names of them, those who were into marijuana and drug. These are co-stars of Sushant Singh Rajput, his staff, and several B-town celebrities. So all those people will also be summoned. But the fact here is, after 14 hours of questioning, Rhea is again allowed to go home. Tomorrow again she has been summoned. She has to appear before the agency at 10 a.m. sharp in the morning. This is what we have been confirmed.
So 6 hours yesterday, 8 hours today, and Tamal joining us this evening. The direct link is what Siddhant is talking about. And Tamal, I want to ask you, the direct link is about the payments. On the day one, the Narcotics Control Bureau had said that payments had been made by Rhea Chakraborty and there was a digital footprint. I understand that today she was also faced with questions from her equipment, the digital information that exists in her laptop, as well as the phones that have been recovered from her house during the raids that were carried out on the day when Shobik Chakraborty was picked up from home. So, Tamal, how long do you think the questioning and the direct link establishment is going to take place? Because 2 days, 14 hours of question, the agency is still looking for something absolutely direct linking Rhea with these drug deals.
Well, Navika, I was chatting with one of the officials and one who confirmed that Rhea has been summoned again tomorrow. I was talking to him and he said today she was asked to produce all her credit card statements. I asked him how many credit cards did she hold. He said, well, for the sake of investigation, we will not disclose that. So at this point in time, we can also confirm today Rhea Chakraborty, while she was holding a bunch of papers, it is pretty much clear that along with possible several other documents, she has also given her credit card statement. Why is this important, Navika? Because it was us here on Times Now. You broke this story. We had shown this first as how at least 12 transactions have happened on Darknet done by Shobik Chakraborty, allegedly using Rhea Chakraborty's credit card details. Now, Rhea Chakraborty all this while had maintained that she is absolutely innocent in scheme of things. But now, after those revelations, and especially after being confronted by NCB officials with those legitimate proof, she has now admitted, yes, she was into procurement. But then she is again saying the procurement was essentially meant for Sushant Singh Rajput. The NCB officials are now looking into the larger conspiracy. The NCB officials are also trying to understand if there had been an abetment to offence, because so far Zaid Viltara, Basit Parihar, they have taken name of Shobik Chakraborty. They have given out details how Samuel Miranda
so the
had worked in close
direct link of
coordination.
Rhea is something that's still eluding the agency. Well, Tamal, I think your throat needs some rest because you've been covering this entire story for the last many weeks. Let me get in Mohit Sharma at this point. Arunil also standing by. Mohit, to you first. Rhea has staunchly now for 14 hours and 2 days refused to confess to the fact that she was using these drugs for herself. She's agreed, she's confessed to the procurement, she's agreed to the arrangement, she's also agreed to the administering of these drugs, but she hasn't really confessed on consumption part. As far as this is concerned, what options will the Narcotics Control Bureau have, if they continue to question her again tomorrow? What is it that they're going to be looking out for?
Well, Navika, one thing that is very clear, as you rightly pointed out, Rhea has not agreed or confessed to the fact that she, in fact, was using drugs as well. The narcotics officers, the Narcotics Control Bureau officers very categorically asked her about those 4 cigarettes, of which you had, in fact, also brought us a chat of. Very clearly, Rhea talking about those cigarettes with her brother, Shobik Chakraborty. But, she continued to reiterate her stance that in fact those were regular cigarettes and nothing else. But at the same time the NCB officers very specifically are confronting her continuously with the statements given by her brother. Why was it that she was procuring, and under the NDPS Act procurement is also a crime and that is also illegal. That does not make it right, but definitely they want to get to the end of it, whether or not she in fact herself was using it as well. Now apart from this you have other chats as well, including those of her and Gaurav Arya, in which she has actually confessed, at least in those chats, that she was in fact taking drugs at some point. She had used MDMA at some point. So obviously, she was confronted with those as well. Now the point in order here is that whether Samuel Miranda has something to say against Rhea Chakraborty as well. Now we've already seen those remand copies in which he's actually confessed to the fact that he was transporting or getting consignment of drugs into Sushant Singh Rajput's house. So that is the next strategy of the NCB officers. They will try to understand from Rhea as to why is it that she was getting the drugs into somebody's house. While her statement is constantly the same, that it was at the behest of Sushant Singh Rajput, but now, with Navika Chakraborty also going to the tune of saying that, the transactions which were made were through Sushant Singh Rajput's money, and the procurement happened from his money. It does seem that, it is going to be a really big day for her tomorrow as well. Continuous questioning is something
Mohit,
that...
Stay with me while Rhea Chakraborty has refused to accept the fact that she was using drugs. But let me go across to Madhavdas Gopalakrishnan, who's going to show us 6 reasons why this is completely flying in the face of some evidence that exists. Madhav, why don't you take us through the evidence that exists where Rhea herself has stated that she needed those drugs for herself?
Well, there are several contradictions, Navika. Several contradictions between the WhatsApp chats and the statements that she has given in the public domain, as well as the statements that she has given to the NCB. And what are these statements and what are the contradictions that we are talking about? The first is what Rhea has told the Narcotics Control Bureau, that she never consumed buds or any other drugs. Now, in this WhatsApp chat to Gaurav Arya, she says that in case we speak about hard drugs, I haven't done too many. According to him, LSD once and MDMA once. This is on the 8th of March 2017. The second contradiction, Rhea has told NCB that she procured drugs for Sushant and his friends. Now, what is the contradiction in this? Rhea has told Simone Khambata in a message on the 16th of March 2020 that, dude, Bhubaneswar is the scene, best weed ever. Now, can someone who has not used drugs actually be making such a statement? Obviously, there is some kind of experience that she has. Rhea has also told NCB that I only smoked cigarettes, never did drugs. The contradiction is that she is talking about doobies being required on the 30th of July 2019. This is a statement that has been made in the Team SSR chat group. So obviously a clear contradiction there as well. Also, she has told the Narcotics Control Bureau that she had given buds and scored by Miranda to Sushant Singh Rajput. Over here, the contradiction here is that we have seen Anandi come out and say that she has seen Rhea, Jaya and Shruti smoke weed. So if Anandi has seen her smoke weed, then obviously it is not that she was only procuring this through Samuel Miranda for the sake of Sushant Singh Rajput. So this is a very clear set of contradictions over here, Navika. Several such contradictions in the statement of Rhea Chakraborty that have been made time and again, and once again highlighted through these WhatsApp conversations that we've broken down here on Times
she's
Now.
all but said everything in a WhatsApp chat, but doesn't seem to remember, and says that she's not in the business of consuming any drugs. The question now remains is, why did they need a network of 6 to 8 drug peddlers who've come forth so far to just give drugs to Sushant Singh Rajput? Just why so many? One drug peddler could have been their contact for providing drugs if Sushant Singh was the one ordering them. That's the question, and we'll ask that question right after this very short break. We'll be back soon. Don't go anywhere, because a big exclusive testimony coming up from one of Sushant Singh Rajput's closest aides on the other side of this very short break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to show you once again how Rhea Chakraborty controlled Sushant Singh Rajput. This is not what we are saying. This is what a witness, a man who's been questioned by the CBI, who has turned witness, and a man who has spent a lot of time with Sushant Singh Rajput in the confines of his house, has told the CBI. This man and this sensational insider testimony will throw light on what exactly was going on, because this version clearly has a lot of evidence that investigation agencies are stringing together to fix along with the circumstantial evidence. Let's listen in to what Arunil has spoken to this insider living in Sushant Singh Rajput's house. We're not giving out his name just yet, because he is a key man who's being looked at and who is helping the CBI in piecing together the jigsaw puzzle of the Sushant Singh Rajput mystery murder case.
Jaya Saha, you know?
What?
Jaya Saha. Jaya Saha. She was with a talent management company, Kwan.
Kwan, yeah. So Kwan, okay, I'll tell you one thing. Kwan was brought for a meeting with her by Rhea.
Okay.
Right, and there was some other person also, some guy with a mustache, I think he was Vijay or something. These guys came for a meeting with her, and that meeting happened. I think Rhea was the one who facilitated that meeting. Although sir was not into all these talent managers, and he did not think that these guys, he thought that these guys look at influencers as just like ways to connect brands with audience and make money from it.
So,
You know how people would think,
You
right?
are saying that before Kwan, he was not into talent management companies and all, but Rhea was the one who probably influenced or convinced him to go for Kwan.
She introduced an idea to him. She initiated the dialogue that we should bring it.
Before Kwan also, did Sushant really need an agency like Kwan, or his career was doing reasonably well considering Chichore was a hit?
Bro, he did not care about like Bollywood. Okay, he did not care about his movie career. He knew more ways to be sustainable and be progressive than just Bollywood.
Okay, and Jaya Saha's relation with Rhea, I mean, were they close friends?
No. Jaya was a close friend of Shruti. She
Oh.
was Shruti boss.
Oh, like that.
And Shruti was very fond of Jaya.
And how close was Shruti and Rhea?
Rhea got Shruti.
Rhea got Shruti. Okay.
Yeah, Shruti was Rhea's manager.
Okay, and then she started managing Sushant as well.
Very important revelations coming in here. Revelation 1, Rhea introduced Kwan to Sushant Singh Rajput. Revelation 2, Rhea facilitated the meeting with Kwan representatives and Sushant Singh Rajput. Revelation number 3, SSR did not care so much about such talent management companies, etc. Sushant Singh Rajput was not into talent management at all, says his friend. And Rhea got Shruti as Sushant Singh Rajput's manager, and Shruti in turn was a friend of Jaya Saha, the woman who was advising Rhea on how many drops of what drug to put in the coffee and tea of Sushant Singh Rajput. So big ring comes in one sensational angle of Kwan talent management company. Let me get in Arunil, who spoke with this friend of Sushant Singh Rajput. Arunil, this is a very important link that you have been able to trace tonight, and this link tells us how Rhea was virtually running the professional life of Sushant Singh Rajput, bringing in Kwan talent management, bringing in Shruti Modi, who became Sushant's manager later on, and then in return, Jaya Saha, Shruti's friend, also coming in, administering and advising on drugs, provision of drugs and all of that. So this is a big ring, and what is so important about this Kwan talent management company relationship which Rhea generated in Sushant Singh Rajput's life?
Well, Navika, this testimony from an insider, basically a witness in the case also, he's been giving out details to the investigative agencies as well. Now this angle of Rhea getting in Kwan to manage Sushant Singh Rajput is extremely significant, considering the part that Kwan has paid a huge amount of money to Rhea Chakraborty. That was after the death of Sushant Singh Rajput as well. So now why there was a need from a talent management company to pay a huge amount of money to a client or a person who got a client like a Sushant Singh Rajput for the talent management company? What were they exactly working out? That is the big question that arises. And like the insider also clearly revealing that Shruti Modi was also got on board by Rhea Chakraborty only. And Shruti Modi was extremely fond of Jaya Saha, and how Anandi also earlier had revealed that these three had a meeting at the Waterstone Resort. And yes, Anandi clearly mentioned about it, saying that there was marijuana which was smoked over there also. And this particular insider, who very much stayed in the same house, Capri Heights house, he also gave out some more explosive revelations, saying that those people gave drugs to Sushant Singh Rajput. When we asked him that who are those people, he clearly cleared it out, saying that those people who have been interrogated at present, interrogated by the Narcotics Bureau, which makes the picture extremely clear that it is Rhea Chakraborty, Shovik Chakraborty, Samuel Miranda and Dipesh Sawant. The insider also gave out another information, saying that heavy medicines were administered to Sushant Singh Rajput, which basically also saying that because of those medicines, he had his entire physical and mental state used to change when he used to have those medicines. So now whether there was a mixture of drugs and heavy medicines that took a toll on
Very important fact, but the Kwan management transactions really hold the key, because Kwan is introduced by Rhea Chakraborty through her friend Shruti Modi, and we'll show you why this is such an important company coming into Sushant Singh Rajput's life, because Madhav is going to take us through all the transaction, how Kwan gives money to Rhea. Why was Kwan paying Rhea? Was this a kickback, Madhav?
Well, that really is a million-dollar question at this point of time, Navika. But what we have in front of us are the facts. And these facts in themselves tell a story. Now, what do we have over here? Here we have Rhea Chakraborty, who first introduces Kwan to Sushant Singh Rajput. And then as far as Kwan is concerned, Sushant Singh Rajput pays 62 lakhs to Kwan. Kwan then gives 22 lakhs to Rhea Chakraborty. In the meanwhile, what else is happening? Rhea Chakraborty also is associated with Shruti Modi. Shruti Modi is close to Jaya Saha, and Jaya Saha becomes the talent manager of Sushant. So on one side, there is, of course, what is happening as far as the money trail is concerned. And Arunil is telling us that all of this has been given to the investigating agencies. A very key witness in this case has given out all of this information. At the same time, is talking about the kind of close links of these individuals, because it is Shruti Modi, because her friend is Jaya Saha, who's instantly telling Rhea Chakraborty at the same time on how to administer, how many drops should be put into drinks that are being given to Sushant Singh Rajput, so on and so forth. How those drugs are to be orally administered are being discussed. In that light, all of this certainly does come as a massive, massive revelation. So the allegation of the family, Navika, has been that drugs were force-fed to Sushant Singh Rajput. And with this revelation, does that question not come up once again, with the money trail also in perspective?
Well, 48 lakhs is paid by Sushant Singh Rajput to Kwan, and Kwan pays 26 lakhs to Rhea Chakraborty. What was this for? Can Rhea explain? That's the big question. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with much more news on the other side.